Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. In this video, I'll show you how to make a kimono jacket. This kimono jacket is very easy to make and very much in fashion today. So I'll be folding my fabric into 2 equal halves, then I'll fold it again because I'll be cutting both the front and the back panels together. So here my fabric has been folded into 4, as you can see here. And I'm going to start marking my measurements. On the neckline, I'm going to mark a neck width of 3.5 inches. And for the back neckline, I'll be marking 1 inch downwards. I'm going to curve out that point. And for the back neckline, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches for the depth. And I'm also going to curve. I'm going to curve it out just like so. Now I'll mark my the shoulder measurements, which is 7 inches, and from that point I'm going to mark my sleeve length. So whatever you want for your sleeve length, you're going to mark at this point, but for mine I just used everything I have there for my sleeve length. So from that point I'll mark 10 inches downwards for the bust line. So I'm just marking 10 inches. And on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark ½ an inch for the shoulder slope. I'm going to connect from that shoulder slope point to the neckline like so. So because the shoulder is not straight, it's slanted, that's why we are marking the shoulder slope to give our the shoulder of our dress a nice fitting. So on that 10 inches I marked, I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4. And I'm going to add 2 inches for ease allowance. So this totally depends on how free you want yours to be. You can add more than 2 inches, you can add 1.5 for yours. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to mark 16 inches downwards, which is my waistline. And on that waistline measurement, on that waistline point, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. And then I'll add 2 inches for ease allowance, okay? And then I'm going to connect from the bust line to the waistline. So I'm going to mark my hip measurement. From my waistline to my hip measurement is 8 inches downwards. So I will just mark that. And on that point, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4. And then I'm going to add 2 inches for ease allowance like I did for the waist and the bust line. And I'm going to connect that to meet the waistline measurement, okay? So if you want, you can decide to ignore the waist measurement and mark your measurement downwards from the bust line. If you don't want the waist to have shape. So I'm going to take the entire measurement I have on the hip line and I'm going to mark it on the hem of my fabric. So I'll just mark downwards here. Whatever I have on the hip line, I'll mark it on the hem line. Then I'll connect from the hem line down to the hip line, okay? So now our pattern has been formed, as you can see. So what I'm going to do next is to go ahead and add about ½ an inch for seam allowance. I do not want to cut exactly on that point because I just added ease allowance and no seam allowance. So what I'm doing now is to add about ½ an inch on the sides for my seam allowance. Is that point that I'm going to go ahead and cut out, okay? So for instance, like I said, you can decide not to mark out your waistline. I'm going to show you how yours will look. If you don't want to put your waistline, you can just connect from your bust line measurement down to the hip line measurement straight up like this. If you don't want yours to have shape on the waistline, if you don't want yours to be smaller on the waistline, you can ignore your waist measurement and just use your bust measurement and your hip measurement. So now I'm going to cut out my pattern and I'm going to start cutting from the back. Always start cutting your measurement from the back, okay? So I'm going to cut out this pattern starting from the back. So like I said, this is very easy to make, and as you can see, we are cutting the shirt and the sleeve together, okay? So the two of them are together. This kimono jacket I'm making has an attached sleeve. So we are not cutting the sleeve separately. As you can see, like I said in the beginning, I marked out the sleeve length I want. So this is what you want to do for yours for this kind of kimono jacket. Okay, so after cutting it, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and remove the back pattern so that I can modify the front to get the front design for my kimono. Okay, so I remove the back pattern, then I'll align the front very well, and then I'm going to go ahead and modify this. Okay, so what I want to do is to mark 3.5 inches from the center of this dress. I'm going to mark 3.5 inches, and I'll connect that to the neckline measurement. Remember, the width we marked for the neck was 3.5, so I'm going to mark that 3.5 all around the front pattern of this kimono jacket, and then I'm going to connect the line. Okay, so I'm just going to shift my measurement, my fabric, and mark 3.5. I'll mark that again until I'm able to get a very straight line for my front panel. Okay, so you're going to do this. You can decide to use something lesser than this 3.5. This 3.5 is not a standard. Okay, so I'm just using 3.5 because this is what I want for mine. You can decide to use 2 inches, you can decide to use 1.5, but this one I use 3.5. So I'm just going to cut straight on that part I made. Now we have 2 pieces for the front of the kimono jacket, as you can see here. So here is the one part, and this is the other part of my kimono jacket. Okay, so what I want to do now, as you can see, this is the upper part and this is the lower part. I just wanted to show you how it looks. The upper part has the design, the lower part has the design, and the upper part is plain. Okay, so this is the back. I want to attach both the front and the back together. So what I want to do is to place them matching the shoulder like so, and I'm also going to place the other one. So you want to make sure that the shoulder align and it also aligns on the neckline. Okay, place it right sides facing each other, and then place the other one as well, right sides facing each other. So after doing that, what I want to go ahead and do is to sew it. Okay, so we are getting to the stitching part of this kimono. So I'm going to attach it on the shoulder, stitch on the shoulder, the 2 shoulders, and then close the sides. Okay, I'm also going to stitch the side. So as you can see, I'm done doing that. The side has been stitched and the shoulder has been stitched together as well. So for now, this is what we have for the kimono jacket. Like I said, it's very easy to make, very easy. Even as a beginner, you can try this and it will come out nice. You'll still be able to rock it and style it. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to take the entire measurement I have for the front from the beginning of the front part. Okay, I'm going to measure all around it. So here I have come to the end of the tape, which is 60 inches. So I'm going to continue measuring, placing my measuring tape on that point where I had 60 inches, and I'm going to measure until I get to the lower part of this. So at the end of the day, I ended up having about 78 inches for mine. 60 plus 18 is 78. So the entire front, including the neckline of the back, is gave me 78 inches. So I cut out a long strap that is measuring 78 inches by 3.5. So I'm going to use this to turn out the front neckline, the front. Okay, so what you want to do is to fold it into 2 equal half like this, then use your ironing use your hot iron to iron it to make sure it's lying nice and flat. After you do that, what you want to go ahead and do is to place this on the front panel just the way I'll place it here. So you place it like this. Make sure everything match. Place it like so, and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and then I'll stitch this to the entire front and the back neckline. And when I'm done, I'll flip it to the front like this, top stitch it. And after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and hem the lower part and the armhole side of this dress. And this is the finished look of the dress. It's very, very beautiful and easy to make. I hope you try this out and let me know. Whenever I try it out, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.